Hello and welcome to The Scoop for the first time today, ladies and gentlemen. How are we all doing? Welcome to Ice Cream Uploads. If you were part of the Ice Cream Uploads community and was in the Twitch chat earlier this morning, you will realise that we started the show. We've had to restart the show due to technical difficulties, I think we'll call it. But no, I appreciate everyone who stuck around. I appreciate everyone who's still here now. If you are watching this on demand, you've missed all the pre-show stuff, which is never a pre-show thing, but that's the benefit of being able to join us live on twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads each and every single weekday at 10 a.m.-ish. So yeah, I mean, I probably should go through everything again for the sake of you guys that are probably watching this on demand or listening to this. Chucky, I see you. John Bibby, I see you. You guys are listening to us on Spotify, which we very much appreciate. So, welcome everyone. We are Ice Cream Uploads, and this is a Scoop, the UK's #1 video game podcast, even if we do say so ourselves. And we're bringing you the daily dose of video games news from around the world, because why not? You guys want it, we're here to give it you. It's not a problem. My name is not Graham Day, my name is Bibby. We'll be joined by Graham Day momentarily once he get everything sorted out. He had some worky bits to sort out. Apparently I didn't, so I'm here doing this for you. We'll give you our thoughts and impressions on the breaking stories, and we want your thoughts and impressions on our thoughts and impressions, and you can share those each and every single weekday at 10 a.m.-ish. Again, on twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. It's important that you do that as we turn this live show into an on-demand service, which you can find on the ICU YouTube channel, as well as all of our podcast services, which include Spotify, as mentioned before, iTunes, Google Play, and SoundCloud. All of which you should be able to download this. So if you have got a long commute, you don't want to waste your data, feel free to download it. It's there for you. You can consume it as and when you like on your journey. But the benefit of being in the chat now at 10 a.m.-ish, it's definitely about 5 to 12, is that you get to voice your opinions, and that's what we love. We love the fact that you guys want to debate, you guys want to argue, but at the end of the day, we all put our arms around each other, high five, go for a pint, and then potentially a few games of snooker afterwards. But that's all you shaggers want to do. You guys just want to have a good time, and we're here to give it to you. So, again, we have the loot drop. Please, again, if you are a Twitch subscriber, get involved with our Discord. You have the chance to win one of 3 games this month, which I think is... It is a week on Monday, which is the 7th of June. So you get the opportunity to have Mass Effect Andromeda, the Mass Effect Remastered Collection, Ratchet & Clank, or Mario Golf. 3 fantastic games for you to potentially win by being a subscriber, whether or not you're using Twitch Prime or you're a Tier 1, Tier 2 or Tier 3 subscriber. You have equal amount of chance to be able to do that. Again, the loot drop stuff is just for subscribers, but we do have a giveaway which is open to all of you guys. So if you've not already got into that giveaway, then please do so. You can win yourself 50 sheets of insert coin vouchers to be able to go and spend on whatever you want. I'm not wearing any insert coin stuff at the moment. It's all in the wardrobe, but we've got Raccoon City Police Department jumpers from, obviously, Resident Evil. We've got a ton of Elder Scrolls stuff that they sent over to us. Graham has got Ghost of Tsushima hoodies. He's got PlayStation hoodies. He's got all of the gear. We've got all of the gear. We want you to have all of the gear, so get yourself in, get yourself £50 worth of gear. All you need to do is just follow all the stuff, and I think it's player.gg, and then you could potentially be winning it. But anyway, that was the beginning of the show that we have now done twice. Hopefully the internet will not go down again, because again, it's not, this time it's nothing to do with Sky, so we can keep our guns in our holsters. We don't need them just yet. But we have got a lot of shaggers in the chat this morning. Tito was here early doors. Late was here early doors. Gagad was here early doors. Enzo, Spike with the 16-month subscription. Again, absolute legend. Graham's in the chat. I think I've said Jordan's in the chat. Garlic Clark is in the chat too. So there is a lot of heads in the chat. They love it. We say 10 a.m.-ish. Because that's our thing. We like to go live at 10, but it doesn't always happen. That's wet, mate. Right on. You big wetty. Anyway. Yeah, we like to go live at 10 a.m, but we work. We've got jobs. So as and when we go live, you guys love the notifications. You're in here early doors. As the countdown's there, you're all in spamming the emotes. We very much appreciate it. But I don't think Graham's around just yet, so we'll move into the first news story. We have got 4 for you today, which includes PUBG, includes Uncharted, includes 2 more, which have now just fallen out of my brain, but we'll get through to that as we go down the line. So let's get into our first bit of news for today. Hopefully this will work. And it has. Beautiful, beautiful. Uncharted 4 is the next PlayStation game to get the PC treatment, according to the Sony document. This has been written by Joshua Robertson over on The Gamer, and the title reads, under the heading, more PC releases planned. The logo for both Days Gone and Uncharted 4 can be seen. It's been revealed that Uncharted 4 is likely to become the next PlayStation franchise heading to PC, according to leaked Sony document. A Sony investor relations document has been released online, bringing it with a whole bunch of information that Sony probably won't be pleased to see in the hands of the public. One such piece of information is the possibility of Uncharted 4 coming to PC at some point in the near future. One of the sections of the document also talks about new vector growths, which is a fancy term for how PlayStation titles are performing on different systems. As you can see, in the off-console section under the heading More PC Releases Planned, the logo for both Days Gone and Uncharted 4 can be seen. It was announced in February that Days Gone would be hitting PC, so it's possible that Uncharted 4 on PC may be a lot closer than we think. Sony has steadily released its best exclusives on PC, starting with Horizon Zero Dawn last year, as the company looks to move for some of its more prestigious franchises on to other systems. It was really only a matter of time before Nathan Drake found himself on PC as well, and this is obviously what has just been mentioned in the article by Wario64. The off console with Horizon Zero Dawn, Days Gone, Uncharted 4, and then the MLB The Show, which has been moved over to Xbox recently as well. So it's also worth pointing out the document also pretty much confirms recent rumors regarding Sony's efforts to expand the PlayStation brand to mobile. While the document doesn't name any potential franchises getting the mobile spin-offs, PlayStation boss Jim Ryan recently talked to a corporate strategy meeting that the idea is currently being explored. Its inclusion in this document suggests that it's definitely part of Sony's plans. In regards to what we could see on Uncharted 4 and on the PC announcement, it was recently confirmed that PlayStation will have some kind of presence at Jeff Keighley's Summer Gaming Fest, so it could possibly be announced there. Other than that, Sony could be waiting for E3 to die down before it announces its own standalone showcase later on in the year, as the company is once again skipping E3. Anyway, taking a sip of my drink there because I blasted through that. Madge in the chat, the dollop today with our baby star. Love you, mate. How's it going? Thanks for joining. Tito says, I think Graham is still scoffing his donuts. That's why he's not on the scoop. Do you know what? I think that's more accurate than you probably think. But anyway, in regards to Uncharted 4 coming to PlayStation, coming to the PC, another potential PlayStation exclusive moving over to the PC. Again, I have voiced my concerns about this, and concerns is a word that I use very loosely. I don't think it's a concern. I wish that eventually all exclusives move over to other platforms so that everybody gets an option to be able to play them. Keep your Halos on the Xbox until it's reached its absolute critical peak. Like, nobody else can play it. Move it over. That's what PlayStation seems to be doing. My only issue with this is that it seems to be only Uncharted 4. Why? Why start with 4? The whole trilogy has to be moved over first. That seems bizarre that you'd only move the 4th installment of the franchise over, but not have the rest of them. Like, who's going to be playing? I mean, there will be people that jump into this that think, actually, I've always wanted to play Uncharted 4. If that's the only one that I have, then I'll probably give it a go. But you will have to look for the storyline elsewhere to see what's going on, because you won't have a clue, like the rest of the world. So this is the kind of thing that I think needs to be looked at and taken with a pinch of salt, because I don't believe it 110%. I think let's just put our rose-tinted glasses down for the time being and just think, why is the only Uncharted 4 being moved over and not any of the other ones? That seems pretty bizarre. But it wouldn't surprise me if we did see it over on PC soon. I think Uncharted, the PlayStation want to keep Uncharted to their chest for as long as they possibly can, but this game has been given away to all the PlayStation player base, all 123 million of them over on the PlayStation 4. It's now part of the PlayStation 5 PS collection, as far as I'm aware. So critical mass has been reached with this game. No one else can play it. Moving it over to PC is exactly the right thing to do. But at what cost? Like, why only move 4 over when there's another 3? And we're not taking Golden Abyss on the PSP into consideration here, because not many people played that. I don't think it was part of the storyline in the first place. I think it was a spin-off. But anyway, moving the entire IP over would be a step in the right direction. Just release one first. Release Uncharted 1 over and see how well that does before moving the rest over. Don't do it backwards, because that is backwards. It makes no sense. Going back through the chat then. Madge says, Graham on a proper scooper this moment, aren't you? Enzo says, yeah, it's moving, but years after. Spike says, I think he's scouting goalkeepers on FM. Very viable. Enzo says, once again, it's been saturated on the console, then sell it on. I agree. I absolutely agree. Just keep the profits for yourself until no one else can absolutely play it. And then what you can do, you just move it over, take whatever cut that you think is deemable for the IP, but you're technically just renting it out to Steam or to Epic Games or whoever it is that's taking it. You can still get your massive slice of that game, but it just means that other people will be able to play it. So for me, it feels like a no-brainer. It feels like a no-brainer, and we've said this many a times over the last 3 weeks when we started to see these games move over. I've been a big believer of console exclusives for the longest time, and I think it's a fantastic way for people to choose a side. But to a degree, you need to take them glasses off and take off the fanboy hat and just appreciate what other games are out there. Games are games. They need to be enjoyed by people. And it may get to a point, it may be a console seller, but eventually that will reach critical mass and you cannot make any more money from that game. When I say no more money, I mean that nobody else is not going to buy it, but the amount of money that you were making when the game originally came out and you sold the console as a bundle with will eventually just dry up. What better way than get other people playing your games? Games are there to be played. I can't afford to have a PlayStation 1 Series X at this moment in time. I may get one down the line, so I may not be able to play Halo, but I've got a PC that I'm more than capable of being able to play it, so I'm one of the lucky few that may be able to do it, but there's a lot of people out there that can't. So having games when they've reached critical mass move over and blur the lines of the marketplace, that's fantastic in my opinion. But starting with Uncharted 4 is a bit of a backward step, and we need to take that with a pinch of salt. This is another one of them documents that has been leaked by someone somewhere. It could just be absolute bollocks, and they've just taken 95% of it, which is true. Like Days Gone and Horizon Zero Dawn, everyone knows that they've moved over or will be moving over. Then just sticking Uncharted on there to try and build a bit of hype. Yeah, we'll see. Spike says the one thing that's poorly is they want people to play their best technical version with the graphics first. The thing is, one plays poorly, so they want people to play the best technical version with the best. I mean, to be fair, yeah, I had to read that twice to make sure what you were saying made sense to me. But yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I mean, it may look like a bag of shit. Well, just sell the first 3 as a bundle and then 4 separately. Like, would you start a book in a franchise? Would you start Harry Potter at like book number 5? You probably wouldn't, because you wanted to know what happened beforehand. Would you start Game of Thrones and see did Game of Thrones have a season 6? Would you start that on 6? Would you start Breaking Bad on season 7? No, you wouldn't. You'd start these from the beginning. So fair enough, they may play wonky and they may be a bag of shit, and you may just want to be able to go onto YouTube and watch all the cutscenes or find out what's going on, but don't not give people the option to be able to do that. But yeah, Graham is on the sidelines and he says, put me in, coach. So give me 2 seconds while I put my headphones in. Bump. Bam. Bam. Headphones on. Turn that off. Turn this down. I mean, you're getting some proper technical stuff here now. You know what I mean? This is a behind the scenes sneak peek of what the hell's going on. So if I do that, start video call. Hola? Yes, you do. Right, 1 sec, because now... okay. Okay, I think we may have found a problem here, Graham. I think this is the reason why we couldn't figure out why the sub notifications wasn't coming through. Because my properties for desktop now has changed back to default. So if you give me a second, let me find out. Mix amp, where are you?
Where are you?
It's actually not there. Fucking hell, technical problems. Right, okay, let me just unplug it and I'll plug it back in. It should come back on there. Hello?
Chanapal.
There we go. Fantastic stuff. Right, okay. So if I make this big screen and then do this, bring that over here, go on to dual pips.
Oh, this is exciting. This is exciting.
There he is. Your head's like all the way down in the corner. I may be able to tweak that. It didn't even have a stinger then. That's pretty amazing. Let's go.
It kind of did for me. Actually, I've not even got my room set up. I've got my room set up for formal business call. Everything's white lighting.
Let me turn you down. I think this is the reason why it didn't work before. Because there was no desktop audio, which is weird because I've been listening to music when I've been working this morning, so I don't understand why it's not come through on this, but it is what it is. Right, so where's this browser source? Let's get this added back in. Bosh. Yes, please.
Bosh.
Okay. Perfecto. I think we're good to go. Ladies and gentlemen,
Nice.
we are back into the building. We are back with this episode of The Scoop. I appreciate everyone who stuck around for this. Technical difficulties while you're going on like during production. It is what it is. That's what you all signed up for. But Graham, did you hear the news story that we have just covered?
Kind of, but then I did go through it quickly afterwards. The gist of it is Uncharted 4 could be coming to PC, following in the steps of Horizon, and more significantly for this, Days Gone. So Days Gone has, we know, come to PC very, very recently, and that says the document that has been, I think it was leaked, basically shows that Uncharted 4 could be having the same treatment. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Nice.
So my biggest issue of this is it could potentially be bogus, but why start with 4?
See, I kind of echo the sentiments in chat. I don't know if it was Spike that said it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna quickly scroll. Basically, starting with, I'm gonna paraphrase because I can't find it. Basically, starting with something that gives you the best technical demonstration that you could have. Uncharted 4 is the pinnacle of the series in terms of technology. It was released for the PS4, not for the PS3, PS2. It's the easiest, therefore, to change to a PC game. Obviously, taking the PS3 games will be quite clunky because PS3 was a ball ache to code for. Taking PS2 will probably not be the greatest starting point. That said, they've kind of already done that, though, because they've ported the PS2 and the PS3 games to the PS4 with the Nathan Drake collection. So I can understand the need to bring Uncharted 4 over, but if you've already done the porting process, you've already got the Nathan Drake collection as something that is a standalone set of ports, then I would have kind of liked to have had all of that at the same time. I do understand that if you show Nathan Drake from Uncharted 1 to a new audience of PC players and go, you get to play this, and it's like you look at some of the games on PC, and then you look at PS1 Nathan Drake, you'd be just like PS2 Nathan Drake, you'd just be like, nah, you're all right, mate. I mean, good game, yeah. Not a flawless game. Uncharted 1, I would still recommend anyone play that game, but I always use it in the same breath as Assassin's Creed. You had to get Assassin's Creed to get Assassin's Creed 2. Uncharted was the game that was necessary to get Uncharted 2. That obviously then led to 3 and 4. So it's a bit of a shame for new users to the Uncharted franchise that you have to start with 4, because I love the series. It's one of my favourite series of all time. So just starting with 4 is a bit of a shame. But if that gets enough people fucking supporting the game at launch or whatever it was, fucking buy the game at launch, as the developer of Days Gone said. If enough people do buy it at launch, then that it does mean that the Nathan Drake collection gets ported over. Then yeah, okay, it's a bit backwards, but it's a necessary win. It's a necessary win.
Do you think it'll make enough money to make it worthwhile for them, though?
I hope so. This game is so good. If you haven't played Uncharted genuinely, I would recommend anyone play through the Uncharted series. Absolutely. It's one of those. It's a surefire win for me. I mean, the way I kind of describe it is it's a movie that you play. It literally is. Other games have tried to do that, and they are very much video games that copy movies. This one is the best game for making me feel like I'm playing a blockbuster movie by far. There was a clip that was shared like a couple of weeks back, which was the Jeep scene from Uncharted 4. It's kind of like a car chasey scene, and it's like over the top, stupid levels of like
Fast and Furious-esque.
yeah, exactly. But it's so good. It's so good. Sitting and watching it, you think, okay, that's a bit unbelievable, but it's meant to be unbelievable. Full on, like you say, The Rock, Jason Statham, Vin Diesel, whoever, having a big fight, trashing through walls, that sort of vibe. It's meant to be stupid. If you take it too seriously, then you're reading too far into it. Just embrace it, and it's wonderful. So I think it would sell. I do think it would sell, especially if they can give you something you can't get for the PlayStation. And maybe we don't get that because whilst Sony want to make extra money, whilst they've exhausted their PlayStation audience, they don't really want to make the PlayStation not be the superior device. So I would love to see it come in with 120 FPS, 4K, that sort of, or even uncapped FPS, whatever, and 4K. We're not going to get that. But if we can get something that gives PC players reasons to get in, then I would love to see this on PC. And I think it would sell. If Horizon sold 750,000 copies, there's no reason why Uncharted, which is coming out potentially in the same period as the Uncharted movie, there's no reason why that can't sell 1 million copies for me.
Yeah. The way I'm going to put this now is kind of off topic to a degree, but it also is highly relevant considering this is kind of the same genre. Do you think that this game, Uncharted 4, will potentially try to compete with what the Indiana Jones game is going to come out to? Because obviously that's going to come out on everything, including last-gen PC and current and new-gen. Do you think that this is in anticipation of that?
I don't. I think it's probably good for both, really. I don't think it is. I mean, with the film coming, I think it's probably something they've had in their locker for a while, and it's almost that shit. Okay, if we'd have mentioned this already, we'd have been out in front. But now it could be that sort of knee-jerk reaction. But the fact that the film is coming, and the fact that they've been tinkering with Horizon and Days Gone going over to PC, it doesn't surprise me that Uncharted's going. I wouldn't see that for something that's such a big IP that's been invested in, like, into outside of video game media, Hollywood. Then I think this would be something that we've probably had on the radar for a while. They just haven't mentioned it. Maybe they were going to mention it. Maybe they wanted to let the film have its own breathing space. Maybe the Indiana Jones stuff has kind of meant that it's got pushed back. But it's interesting. It's interesting to see how, like you mentioned, Indiana Jones. I've got hair in my eyes. You mentioned Indiana Jones. I can't see.
It's a hair.
It's a hair. It's actually 2 hairs. Oh, it's not. It's 3. I've got 2 out, and there's still 1 there. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see whether Indiana Jones gets Indiana Jones'd, because like Uncharted undoubtedly was inspired by Indiana Jones.
Yeah, so it's Tomb Raider.
In video, right? Exactly. And those games have arguably, I mean, I would say without question. I mean, you can question if you want. I just won't listen to you. Without question, those games have pushed further than any Indiana Jones game has ever been. So it'd be interesting to see whether Indiana Jones can push in front and offer something new and something better, or is it just going to be same but Indiana Jones? And if that's the case, as much as I love the Indiana Jones films, watched through all of them again in January just because you can. So as much as I love those Indiana Jones films, I'm now in my mindset that I want to see Indiana Jones on film, and I want to see Nathan Drake on my PlayStation or wherever. I'm not sure I could see that switching unless Indiana Jones comes and changes something. But the danger is there that Indiana Jones is such a legacy franchise for me now that you've got the danger of ruining it. It's like making a Star Wars film 20 years later. You've got to do something what's the word I'm looking for? Extremely special to win over the audience. And arguably, the newer trilogy of Star Wars films didn't really do that for the old core. So, yeah.
Adaptations are difficult, so like you say, we're used to seeing Indiana Jones on the big screen. Obviously, I think we've had previous Indiana Jones games, which I don't think were up to much. So I think this will be a lot better, but what kind of formula do you take? Do you take the old school Uncharted formula, or do you take what Tomb Raider was and make that a little bit better? So I genuinely have no idea what we're going to see from that. I just think it's a very good comparison, considering you've got something like Indiana Jones, which is the Godfather, the big dog that Tomb Raider and both Uncharted I've tried to replicate. I'm interested to see what kind of differences the Uncharted films have to the Indiana Jones films. But yeah, when you're going after the big dog, it's got to be better. And Indiana Jones, I mean, is in a very weird scenario now where they have to do better than what Uncharted has done in video games, which is very difficult. Bearing in mind, I've played a little bit of one and Uncharted Abyss. I finished that one on my PS Vita.
So, I have to ask, when you said going after the big dog, was that a Naughty Dog reference? If it was, GG's.
I'm going to say yes now. But no. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how they both transition. Morning, Jordan. I know you was in the chat before. I'm definitely sure that I called you out. I think you may have left, but you're back now, so good morning. Enzo says, just started Uncharted 2. One sucks now, but feels like it was made in the 90s. Gary says, the way the cutscenes blend into the gameplay in Uncharted 4 is insane. I'll take yours, Graham's, and Spike's word for it. Spike says, Gears of War was the first game that blended cutscenes into gameplay for me. I remember working in Game Station when we first saw it, dropped jaws everywhere, but Uncharted made that step up to a fully flushed feeling movie game feel. There's a lot of high praise for Uncharted. It's definitely something now that I think I need to try and get into if I want that kind of... How long are the games? Are they like 20 hours maybe?
Yeah, something like that. Probably. Maybe a few hours more, a few hours less. I can't quite remember. I mean, but that's a good thing for me because some games I do kind of count down the hours, not because I want to finish it, but because for me, I'm an old man, so it's a case of I need to know when I'm gonna... When I need to plan, I need 3 hours tonight, and 3 hours tomorrow night, and 3 hours to get the full 9 hours in that I need to finish the game ish. Whereas Uncharted, it was like I'm just going to play it, and I'm going to play it and see how long it takes, and then that usually means okay, we're going to stop for tonight, which means we've got a good 5 hours tomorrow to go at it. Tomorrow you go at it 45 minutes and you finish it. It's like, oh well, there you go, full 5 hours.
I mean, that is potentially one of the biggest compliments you can pay to video games this day and age. I mean, for me, I think the tired 60-hour games, apart from if you're playing something like Skyrim or playing an Elder Scrolls game in general, I think that the 60-hour games is something that I think a few developers are probably working towards getting away from. You have got Assassin's Creed you can play for 120 hours. Far Cry you could probably play for maybe 30 hours. But the 60-hour games, I think, are starting to be reduced, and we are getting small... I say small, like we're talking 9 to 15 hours, which I think is a very good pace for a video game. Just people nowadays, if they're having to spend more, they want more. But at the end of the day, you're sacrificing quality for bumper, shitty filler content. And that, for me, is a step in the wrong direction. But yeah, I think where we're looking at this from a Uncharted, Indiana Jones segment, get this on PC if you can. I mean, I'm willing to play this on my PlayStation. I'm going to try it. It's kind of vote with your wallet stuff. I would absolutely appreciate it if nobody wants to pick this up because it's jumping into full, because I would find it very difficult for a franchise I know zero about to jump into a story 75% of the way through. That it would be a bit jarring, but if this is the only option you've got to be able to play it, then I personally can't see it selling 1 million copies unless it's people dipping for the second time. I think if there was to segregate new customers and existing customers that have already played the original ones, I think it'd be more likely people double dipping for the option to potentially play this with mods on PC and for a better frame rate and a better resolution. I can't see the player base of first time customers coming in and buying the fourth one. I'm happy to be proven wrong though.
I mean, I think you're probably right there. I do think I see it selling 1 million copies, but I keep trying to figure out which side of the screen I should be on. I should be on this side. I'm trying to get myself more central. I do see it selling 1 million copies, but I think it will be the same as Horizon in that sense. I think Horizon sold 750,000-ish, but I don't doubt that there was a lot of people that have bought it before will buy it again.
Yeah.
So I could see this selling 1 million, but I do think a lot of it will be people that have bought it and played before. I'm just looking to see whether I have a copy of Uncharted Nathan Drake Collection on disc format, because I think you can get Uncharted 4 on PS Plus anyway, so that's you covered for playing that.
Yeah.
There you go. If you want to play Uncharted Nathan Drake Collection, I've got you. I've got special disc copies kind of thing. So you play through that. I would go against what has been said in the chat though, in terms of I think it was Enzo said just don't bother with one. Do bother with one. Do it. It's definitely an old game, but this is Bibby. Bibby plays the worst tankiest controls games that have ever existed. So
I'm in the minority with that though.
Yeah, true. But The original, like Nathan Drake Collection will give you the original game, obviously. And whilst that's not as good as the other games, if you go in knowing that that's a game that's the best part of 20 years old, is it? Probably, maybe 15 years oldish. I don't know, whatever years old. If you go in knowing that, it's still an incredibly good game. Yeah. It was an exceptionally good. There's a reason we got Uncharted 2 and 3 and 4, and that was all based off of how successful 1 was at the time. I do think it stands the test of time, and I'm not just saying that because I'm a nerd with the Uncharted Nathan Drake Collection Special Edition sort of box and matching cufflinks. Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Graham's not a super fan at all.
No, not at all. Not at all. I'm just gonna pop on my Sick Parvis Magnet cufflinks. Yeah, there you go. Nice. But yeah, genuinely, I would say play through the Nathan Drake Collection. Me and Danielle did it, and I think I've mentioned this before. We sat down and we played through all 4 films in the space of a month, maybe 2 months. We had like some breaks in between them, but once you start playing them, it's like you're watching Prison Break. You want to go back for the next episode. Yeah. Danielle's going, "Are we playing Uncharted tonight?" Rather than me going, "I'm going to play Uncharted, do you mind?" kind of thing. It's like we're both in for it, so definitely do it.
You can't argue with that. Cinematic experiences, I think, have been getting bigger and better. And for me, there's no better way. I mean, we've covered it again. I say this all the time, 1,000,001 times, 1,000,002 times now. That the single player boom is coming back, and I am all for it. I want the best story writers writing the best stories that I can experience again, regardless of whether or not it's a 9 to 15 to 40 hour game. I've just seen Spike's comment in there saying that he's played Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I think the game is about 120 hours and he's just bought the new DLC because he's enjoyed it that much. I think those games are an anomaly at the moment because for me, I couldn't think of anything worse than pouring 120 hours into a game that isn't something that I am super into, maybe like a Skyrim, but I'll be playing that game over years and months and years. It's not just going to be the case of I need to finish this game in a week because the next game is coming out, which is something that obviously me and you suffer from because we have to pick these games up to talk about. But yeah, I agree that Spike continues to say sorry. I rarely do when I finish a story, but I think that we need more short single-player games that are real stories. The issue comes that once they're completed, they get sold, which means the second-hand market jumps, kills them, and then you're spending £20 for them, which is the norm at this moment in time. It's annoying to the people who created the games because they're not getting full value for them. They're only getting a couple of quid off the second-hand market. But at the end of the day, more people are playing these games. Therefore, more people are talking about it on social media because, believe it or not, video game companies read what you put on social media. And whether or not it's polarizing or if it's good, it's bad, or indifferent, they're reading that and they're trying to figure out what games need sequels. So the more people are buying it, the more people are playing it is definitely a good thing for them because they're looking at how many people are playing this on Steam. There was something that I've seen that Biomutant had 55,000 people playing this on Steam on release, which is a pretty decent number. And I think Koch will be probably happy with that. But all these metrics make decisions and metrics mean everything. I am guaranteeing you a lot of people in this chat, whether or not they've been ex-community managers or just normal people who talk about stuff, you probably had a look at your analytics between creating a Twitter account or posting stuff on websites to try and figure out how many people are trying to look at your content. All these numbers mean something to someone somewhere, which may encourage them to create sequels or think actually that bit was a bit shit. We'll just take that out and then move on with the next game. All these things make a difference. But speaking of 175 billion hours worth of game. Moving on to our next story. You guys, I haven't even mentioned what it is yet because I could only figure out what the two were. The first one was Uncharted, the second one was PUBG. PUBG is probably going to come last because Graham will waffle for about 45 minutes. Wes will come out of nowhere. Big Hamish will come over from his stream and it'll just be a whole thing. But the next article that we're going to go through is one for the shaggers, one for the old school. And it is Pokemon. This has been written by Josh Coulson over on The Gamer. And he states that Pokemon announces release dates for Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, and Legends Arceus. Pokemon has revealed when exactly Diamond and Pearl remakes will be here, as well as the release of the Pokemon Legends Arceus. Pokemon has announced its Diamond and Pearl remakes will be here by November, and Legends Arceus will follow 2 months later. Stated players and Nintendo Directs can often be built up so much that they end up being disappointing. That was not not the case for Pokemon Presents earlier this year. Expectations were high since 2021 marks the 25th anniversary of the Pokemon franchise, and its creators delivered. It revealed Diamond and Pearl will be getting remakes, and also an open world Pokemon game is coming in 2022. It's a lot sooner than you think, guys. It's genuinely a lot sooner than you think. We also know that all of these games will be arriving on the Nintendo Switch. Pokemon revealed that it will be a Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl will be released on November 19th, 2021. Is this just going over the same thing? As expected, just in time for the holiday season, and the right amount of Game Freak will usually release its main series Pokemon games. Pokemon Legends Arceus will initially be given a tentative release date of early 2022, considering the delays to release dates caused around the pandemic over the course of the past year or more. Most fans will have understood that its targets wasn't met. Pokemon has stuck to its guns, though, and announced Legends Arceus will be releasing on January 28th, 2022, perhaps even earlier in the year than most may have expected. So the cover art for all three games has also been revealed and can be seen above. Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearls covers are typically main series Pokemon game covers featuring the monsters the two games will evolve around. Since Legends Arceus makes the beginning of a new frontier for the Pokemon franchise, its Switch cover hits a little differently. It shows two trainers who will presumably be tasked to choose between the start of their adventure looking out on the Sinnoh region in which the game is set. A Sinnoh region players will be unfamiliar with, since Legends Arceus is set long before the events of the main series. All three games are available to pre-order right now. Graham, as a long-standing Pokemon fan, a man who has spent many hours on Pokemon Go, the thought of a new open world game coming to Pokemon, a game or a genre that we have hoped that the Pokemon franchise will jump into. We're getting an open world Pokemon game. What excites you more, Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, or Arceus, if I'm pronouncing that right?
I haven't actually looked at the Brilliant Diamond, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. That's basically Pokemon Diamond, Pokemon Pearl.
Yeah.
I'm assuming, but like special editions. Okay, if that is the case, no, not interested that much, if I'm being honest. I am a Pokemon fan, and more than most, but I am also very old school with that. Once we get past 151, my interest drops. Once you get past about 300-400, my interest flatlines, essentially. However, Pokemon Legends Arceus looks incredible. Genuinely looks incredible. I remember watching the trailer for this. I think I watched the trailer for us to cover it on the Scoop 6 months ago, whenever it was announced. And the story eventually got bumped because it was kind of like a super news week, so we didn't actually cover it. And I think I maybe mentioned it in passing. Anyway, Pokemon Legends Arceus, you look at that trailer, and that is, like Bibby mentioned, what I want, what you want, what we all want from a Pokemon game. Do you know? Let's see, there we go. I'll put the trailer link in the chat. So this is a YouTube video for the Pokemon Legends Arceus official trailer release. There you go, February. Not even 6 months ago, actually. It's a lot sooner than I thought. And like you're skipping in to like a minute and whatever, like a minute and 54 seconds ish, and you're strolling through long grass and you can see a Shinx in the distance, and it's like, that is what I wanted. I didn't want to just walk along and go like, I mean, I enjoyed that. That reminds me of playing on my Game Boy back in the day, but I want the idea that I can see those Pokemon. I want the idea that a Charizard will be flying over my head past in the distance and I can start a fight with it. That's the world. I want to be in the Pokemon. The reason we had the screen going black and white and then it zooming into a battle, that's a turn-taking battle, is because that was resource-led. Not that that's how they wanted that game to go. That was how the game needed to be because of the formats and platforms that they had it on. We don't have those restrictions anymore, so we don't need to persist with that anymore. Giving us something like Pokemon Legends Arceus is the game that I wanted 10 years ago. Would I like to play this game? Yes. Would this excite me as much as the idea of what they've done so many times to remarket Pokemon is just go back to the 151? Yes, please, give me that. So get Pokemon Legends Mewtwo. There you go. And just go back and have it just being the Johto regions, or Kanto region, should I say, not Johto. So just the Kanto region with just the Kanto 151 Pokemon kind of thing. Give me that again. I know it's been done to death, but that's still what I want. This is a step closer to where I want to be with Pokemon. That said, I would still like to play this game. Diamond, Pearl, Sword, Shield. I mean, you can get two things that are similar and call them whatever you want. Not asked, not really, not bothered. Ruby, Sapphire, whatever. I'm not bothered. Arceus though does have my attention.
Yeah.
So yes, please, I'll take that.
I fully agree. I think having I just threw the trailer that you put into the chat. I just brought it up onto the screen as well. So chances are we're not getting monetized this particular episode of the Scoop, but for the sake of everyone in the chat, we've just posted that one. Hope for you to be able to see. But I like the fact that you have to sneak up on the Pokemon so you're not disturbing them. You're not just running wild and then hoping for that flashing screen in the encounter for you to then battle them and then try and take them down to a point where
it's like State of Decay approaching a zombie horde. State of Decay, come on.
Yeah. But yeah, like being able to sneak away and then lobbing a Pokeball like 20, 30 feet and hoping that it hits the Pokemon, but they're unaware, so you have better chance of being able to capture them. This is what we've been wanting for so long, and it surprises me that it's taken until 2022 to be able to get this game, but we're getting it. And I think this will probably be one of the best-selling Pokemon games there has ever been. Switch is now getting towards being the most, it's sold a lot, and I don't think it will probably ever reach the Nintendo DS levels, but this day and age, having a hybrid console like this, I think it will try and get close by the end of its life cycle, especially if we get the Switch Pro. More on that soon. But all of these things are building towards Pokemon and millions of sales. Pokemon doesn't need to do this to be able to get millions of sales. We've seen that through Sword and Shield. We're going to see this through Brilliant Diamond. We've seen this through all the other Pokemon games in history. But this is a completely different ballpark, and no pun intended, than what we've previously got with other Pokemon games. So I think this will probably go down as one of the best-selling Pokemon games that there will probably ever be, especially from a two-player aspect. If you can join up with your mates, say me and you are streaming, and we want to be able to go and battle and find as many Pokemon and try and capture the 151, because that would be my ultimate goal, not catching all 950 of them, whatever it is now. The 151, that's it. I'm done. Then I've completed Pokemon. But being able to do that as a two-player experience, that would be fantastic. And that kind of goes against what I've been saying about a single-player boom. But Pokemon is built to be able to be able to play with your friends. Oh, it should have always been that way. We've seen that through the Pokemon series from the very beginning, where Ash meets Brock and he meets Misty, and they go out and they go and do all of these things together. Like, that's the experience that I want with my friends playing Pokemon. But yeah, I think this will probably go down as one of the best-selling Pokemon games if they do it right. If this is just a shallow open-world Pokemon game, it may tank, but I've got every faith that Game Freak are going to do whatever they can to try and make this game a massive, massive success.
I genuinely hope it does not tank. Genuinely hope it does not tank. I could see it maybe tanking because a lot of people I don't know what Arceus is. Is it yet another legendary? Is it better than Zapdos? I don't know. And then you get people like with that. So I could see it maybe missing the mark. But I genuinely hope it doesn't, because if this tanks, that's Game Freak going, oh, well, nobody really wanted a third-person Pokemon game at all, so let's ditch that idea forever. And it's like, look at all the mods that you've killed. That's what people have wanted for 50 fucking years. Not 50 years, but for 25 years anyway. That's what people have wanted that long. Just stick to your guns. So hopefully it doesn't tank. Hopefully it doesn't tank. I haven't bought a Switch game for a long time. I probably will buy Pokemon Legends Arceus, because that's exactly what I want from a Pokemon game. Even though I'm not asked about the Bidoof that it shows you, or the Chimchar. The Chimchar, okay, you've got Char in your name, and you're a starter Pokemon that's they're made of fire. I like that prospect. Let's examine that a little bit more, but not in the Chimchar variety. So not asked about the Pokemon that are in it per se. I mean, there are some cool ones. It has Riolu on the cover. Yes, please, I'll take a Riolu. Nice, almost Egyptian looking fighting Pokemon. Yes, please, I'll take that. But the rest of it, okay, fine. Well, let's go down that avenue. But let's step back. Like Spike says, Gen 1. Give us Gen 1. Give us the Charmander to Charizard route. Yes, please. Yes, please.
That'll be fantastic. We need more of that. But I have seen a Wild Asim Tanvir in the chat. Good morning to you, Shagger. Madge says that Amazon buys MGM for $8.7 billion. Jesus Christ. Okay, so I wonder what they're going to do with that. But anyway, I mentioned the Switch Pro during this because this, I think, will be coming sooner rather than later. And there has been a little bit of headway leading up to this as well. So if you give me a second while I try and find all my scenes. Scoop news, there we go.
While you're doing the scenes, just want to jump back because I didn't mention it. I did the maths though whilst we were off there.
Okay.
People talking about they wanted single player games not to be too long. You can get through the entire Uncharted series in about 45 hours.
That's perfect, then, isn't it? So that's 10 hours per game.
Yeah, and then 15 for the last one. So yeah, there you go. Fill your boots.
Fantastic. So yeah, there's a quick maths by Mr. Graham Day for the Uncharted series. If you've not played it, 45 hours will get you the entire franchise, depending if the side missions, because I will get stuck doing them.
Yeah, that's just main story, not completionism and stuff like that. It's like 29 hours or something for full completionism just for Uncharted 4.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, so moving into the next article on VGC, written by Andy Robertson, states that the Switch Pro will replace existing model, announced likely in weeks. A new report suggests that redesign could release in September or October, just in time for the new Pokemon game.
Yeah.
Nintendo expected a new Nintendo Switch model will reportedly retail for over $300 and replace the existing flagship models. That's according to the new report by Bloomberg, which states that the redesigned hardware is expected to be announced ahead of next month's E3 on June 12th, giving developers room to showcase games. According to the publication sources, Nintendo will begin assembly of the new Switch as soon as July and release the console in September or October. Suppliers are confident they can fulfill Nintendo's orders despite the ongoing chip shortages, Bloomberg states. Its in-production lines are better prepared for the potential component shake-up, and the parts Nintendo is using are subject to less competition than those in its rivals' more powerful consoles. Nintendo, that worries me a little bit. Anyway, Nintendo reportedly declined to comment on the last report. Nintendo's upcoming Switch hardware update, dubbed Switch Pro by analysts, will reportedly feature NVIDIA's DLSS technology and an improved screen. According to another recent Bloomberg report, the Switch Pro will include a new 7-inch Samsung OLED screen as opposed to the 6.2-inch and the 5.5-inch LCD screens of the current standard model and the Switch Lite, respectively. Do we need to read the rest of it? No, we don't. We don't need to read the rest of it. It's all shit that we've covered previously about the running out of shortages and blah, 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 blah. Don't need to know it. But anyway, Mr. Graham Day, we're looking at a Switch Pro console for $300. We covered something yesterday about the One X player retailing for about $950 to £1,000. And then the Smack Z was a Kickstarter that lasted a long time ago. This is coming in at $300 and apparently is a Switch Pro. It's going to take everything that we love from our original Switch consoles, ramp it up to 11, better battery life, better graphics, better screen. £300. Is that a bargain?
For a lot of people, probably. See, this is where usually I'd ask you this question, and if we flip reverse this, you're probably more likely to say yes than me. Because as I've just mentioned, talking about Pokemon, I've not really bought the last Switch game we bought was the one that everyone bought. It was Animal Crossing New Horizons, and we didn't really play it because it just didn't click for us. So my Switch, I don't know where my Switch. This shows you what it's like. I don't know where my Switch is, but I know where my PS Vita is. So the Switch is in the house somewhere. I think Chloe had it to play Fortnite. So it's exciting for the people that it will excite. It doesn't excite me that much, but I'm probably not the target audience for it yet because I'm not fully into that ecosystem. But it does excite me. What does excite me is the fact that it's so soon, because we've been talking about, not this year. Nintendo, no, we don't even know what Switch. We don't even know what Nintendo Switch is, let alone anything else. So the fact that it could be announced at E3 is exciting.
Yeah.
Game of Christmas, middle of Christmas in June. Yes, please, I'll take that. My real question though, which is a complete tangent, is still we keep calling it the Switch Pro. We absolutely. I mean, I would love for it to be called a Switch Pro because it's a Switch and then there's a Pro version. It fits in with what people expect, but what we also can expect is that Nintendo doesn't like to be expectable.
Yeah.
They'll
Wii
go,
U.
yeah, exactly. Switch Pro? No. Switch 2? No. We're calling it the Swanch because it's a Switch, but chunky. It's a Swanch. There you go. And it's like, what the fuck? It's not even a word, but the Wii wasn't even a word. So, yeah, I mean, I would love for Pro, just so I can go into a shop and say, okay, Switch is a pretty cool word. Pro, yeah, that's a cool word. I don't have to go into a shop, speak to a cashier, and start talking about my Swanch. It sounds like it's a type of Pokemon that no one's interested in, and that's full on Nintendo. So, yeah, excited that there is a new one. Not excited to the point that it speaks to me, but excited for the people that it would excite, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I would be super stoked for this. I've just Googled now very quickly, and for a normal Nintendo Switch, now this is I think this is the second generation, not taking into the consideration the Switch Lite, but the second generation Nintendo Switch had improved battery life. That is now £280. The Sponge is £280. You can buy a Nintendo Switch Lite with a copy of Minecraft Dungeons for £190. So the fact that we're going to be getting a Switch Pro, what that entails, I don't necessarily know, for £20 more, that excites me a lot. If this is capable of being able to run games at a PlayStation 4 or Xbox One capability, this will be a huge success. They've got a lot more power to be able to work with there. So yeah, I'm all in for this one. I probably will end up selling my Nintendo Switch because there's no point me having to unless Samantha wants it. But there's no point me having to with these consoles. So I will be all in for a brand new one. I will probably buy a Nintendo Switch Pro controller for the sake of this one. Sorry, I'll call it a Swanch from now on. Just to be able to try and, we mentioned this yesterday. I've got my Nintendo Switch controller here. It's a very cheap one. It probably cost me about £15, but it's in the shape of a PlayStation 4 controller. The buttons are perfect. Everything works as it should do. The sensitivity is perfect. It fits in my massive fat hands really well. So just for the sake of buying a Switch Pro controller, I will pick that up. But this excites me a lot. The power that we could potentially get out of this, and the screen, mate. If you have played a PS Vita with the old, is it the LCD screens versus the OLED screens, mate? The difference there is unbelievable. So the fact that we're going to be getting a better screen with this and a bigger screen, similar to hopefully what we're seeing on the video yesterday with the One X player, that screen was perfect. Give me one of those. The resolution will be on fire. So yeah, I think this is definitely a bold move. I expect to be picking one of these up pretty much as soon as they become available.
My only worry about the screen is we looked at that One X player yesterday, or whatever it was called, and that was huge, and it looked wonderful. My only concern around the Switch screen comparison is that screen I think was 8 inches yesterday, whereas the one that the time for the Switch is 7 inches, which I thought, okay, well that's nice, but that tweet from IGN UK Deals, no spawn by the way, I saw it this morning. This is just going off my own thing. And when you see them side by side, you almost don't see the difference. Basically, the black edge around the screen has been absorbed by screen size, and it doesn't look as exciting as the size of that 8-inch screen for me. So it is exciting, but for me, I'm kind of like, I could have looked at that and could have just seen 2 different models of Switch on that. Obviously, it's only a render. That's not necessarily what it's going to be like. It could be completely different. They could have improved the controllers or whatever. But if that render is to be believed, at that point, I'm kind of like, okay, well, that's kind of the same same.
Well, I mean, even if it is, but just using that entire bezel, it's like we've got a bezel on our TV downstairs, and then I go to my granddad's who's just got a brand new TV, and his is just, it's got no edging on it whatsoever. He said he probably could have bought a bigger TV to fit where his old one was, but because of the bezel of the old one, he was losing the size around the outside, so we probably could have gone for, I don't know, a 55-inch one rather than a 51 because there's no bezels on the screens anymore. So, yeah. I mean, the bigger the screen, the better for me. I mean, obviously, it will drain your battery life a lot quicker, especially if they're pumping out potential 4K-ness going through it. But it's all purely speculation. We haven't seen anything from Nintendo yet to suggest otherwise. I hope that we end up getting console console-like experiences with this, because we're very, very, very close with the games that we're getting. Like, I keep on mentioning it, like the likes of Doom, the likes of Skyrim, the likes of Wolfenstein, all of these AAA big console games are getting ported over to a portable handheld. That for me is fantastic, and I'm glad that we are getting that. It just needs to be a little bit better for it to be a true... Yeah, squanchier for a true AAA experience. But we have had a lot of comments in the chat as well. Chappers is he's going mad because his Twitch update, his Twitch on his mobile has had an update, so it's going to take 2 weeks to get used to it.
It's not good. It's not good. It's like I was talking to this Danielle yesterday. Like when I go live, naturally, not when I go live, when I open the app, naturally you see who's live, and you've got the likes of Summit and Tim the Tatman and stuff like that. And I do drop into their streams occasionally, but what I'm more likely to do is to scroll down to the bottom and see people that I can interact with or people that I know, and then that way you're looking between 1 and 150 viewers, not 20,000. But the list that used to take up, say, 3 inches of space, every different screen preview is now like 2 inches on its own, so you're scrolling forever. And I feel like last night I knew Shogun was live playing Knockout City, so I thought I want to drop in show stream. I like the game, let's give him some support, let's drop in show stream. And I just felt like keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. Just
There's a song
switch.
in there,
That's not the one. It keeps scrolling, keep scrolling. It's nice. I like the way they earwormed me without even singing. Beautiful.
So yeah, that sounds like a nightmare. So I'm probably not going to open the Twitch app for a while on my phone. Spike says, this doesn't sound like much of a reason to buy it. I won't be upgrading. As someone who likes gadgets, and the fact that they seem to have removed interchangeable control sides put me off. That was for the Switch Lite, no? For the actual Switch, you definitely can. But yeah, the fucking Joy-Cons are shit anyway, so if you could play with the controller, do that. Gary says, nothing has been confirmed yet, and I thought it was unlikely they won't be removable. Enzo says, Swanch is a Rick and Morty Switch. Nintendo, give me free stuff. Spike says, either way, it's not going to excite me. I've never upgraded from the Xbox One. I can't see any reason to upgrade unless I'm going to be suddenly travelling an awful lot. Switch your Switch for a Swanch, says Spike. Gary also says, for me, it's not that much better with a thinner bezel. Enzo states, if this thing is pumping out 4K, the battery will be dead within 2 hours, as it'll be a hot Pop-Tart fresh out the toaster. Again, we've mentioned that many times. It's very difficult to be able to have a 4K console on the go. For that reason, there's a reason why Genshin Impact is struggling on some devices, especially older mobile phones, because of how good the graphics are versus what your phone is capable of. If you've got a console that's trying to emulate what a PC can do, I don't think it's going to last too long, or it most likely explode in your hands. And the Spike concludes with, thin bezel does look nice replacing your old Switch, knowing that Nintendo have a nightmare transferring anything across for £300. Nah. Again, very true. The cloud saves hopefully will save us with that.
The only thing I would say to that, I mean, I'm not a person that's going to rush to upgrade my Switch to a Switch Pro.
Yeah.
But playing devil's advocate, I'm probably more likely to be the person that will upgrade my graphics card. Do I need to upgrade my graphics card? Do I need the 2080 or the 3080 or whatever? No, mine still does it. That does the same job. And some of the people that maybe Switch users are going, well, you're just spending all that money to do the same stuff, but a bit quicker on your graphics card. It's kind of the same sort of thing. So it doesn't speak to me, but I know there's a sense of irony in that. I'd love the idea of picking up a 3080, but I'm not going to get one because fuck you scalpers. But yeah, it's that same sort of thing. It doesn't speak to me because that's not where I play my games as a priority, but it's that sort of purchase for a Switch user.
It's our secondary console. I mean, we've got PCs and we've got consoles. The Switch for me is a beautiful luxury that I can, if I really want to, go and sit downstairs while Samantha's watching God knows what. I can get my Switch out and I can play Resident Evil on the go. Fantastic. Can't do that on my mobile.
For a change.
For a change. I can play those on my RG350 and play the old school ones if I really want to. But if I want to get Resident Evil Revelations 2 on my Nintendo Switch, I can do that. If I want to play that in 4K, if I get the new Switch, then absolutely. It just opens up the gate to be able to play games that we won't necessarily see on the Nintendo Switch. That's why the Nintendo Switch so far has become so successful, because we are getting third-party support that we would have never got on any of the other consoles before. It's something that the PS Vita didn't have, wasn't supported, and died within about 18 months of it coming out. So they keep on fine tuning it, they keep on tweaking it, we keep on getting these games. We are hopefully going to get a bigger bunch of games in the near future. So for me, it's a massive dub. We will likely see, but for £300 to get a next gen video game console, portable, hybrid, I'm all in for that. I am all in for that, baby. Jordan says he can't be asked upgrading, and Spike says, I get that. There were people happy with it, and I'm happy for them. Exactly. Imagine that. Imagine saying that you're going to be happy for someone because you might not necessarily think that it's going to be worth your time, but you're happy for other people. Can you believe that?
Someone have a word with Spike. That's too nice for the internet, Spike. Come on, Spike.
For fuck's sake. Someone's woke up on the right side of the bed.
How dare you? This is the internet. There is only one.
But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I hope to God that you've got a brew. I hope you've got some biscuits. I hope that you are comfortable, because we are finishing the day off with a PUBG article. We've opened the doors to the arena. The guys are waiting to come in. Graham, would you like to read this article, because it will mean fuck all to me and I know nothing of what this says?
Fine. If you want me to, I'll do that. Just let me know, because I'm obviously on like a 5-6 second-ish delay. I can see the articles on the screen. There we go. It's fine. I'll start the article. Okay, this is written by Sherif Saed at VG247, and it says, PUBG is getting two... That's an excited noise. 8x8 maps, full-size maps, yes. This year, one of which will introduce respawning. Ooh, okay, interesting. Not necessarily what I want, but we'll keep an open mind. Sherif Said at VG247 has the rest of the article, which says PUBG is bringing back big maps and one big new feature. So Krafton has big plans for PUBG in 2021 and beyond. In a development update, the studio outlined the broader strokes of the new content coming to the game over the coming months. This year, Krafton intends to introduce two new big maps to PUBG. The game's third 8x8 kilometer map, codenamed Tiger, will arrive later this year. In recent years, PUBG moved away from the large 8x8 maps that defined its early days, but Tiger represents a return to this style for the studio. Fuck yeah! Excuse me. Tiger will be the first map based on Korea, where Krafton hails from. Not much is known about Tiger, but Krafton revealed that it's going to be the game's first map to allow players to respawn after dying. This contentious mechanic has become a staple of other Battle Royale games, but PUBG never really seriously flirted with the idea until very recently. Over a month ago, Krafton demoed an early version of respawning on the game's experimental branch, PUBG Labs. Respawning was available on the Paramore map for just that test, and it functioned on a cycle not unlike what you might find in a normal TDM match, with players simply coming back to the match after a set time. It's not clear if this is going to how respawning works on Tiger. Also set for release later this year or early next year is yet another 8x8 map codenamed Geeky, though it's much less further along in development compared to Tiger. Geeky sounds like it's going to be PUBG's most interesting map yet, with an urban metropolitan setting of massive skyscrapers and underground labs. Geeky's diverse environments will also include various other locations not found in any of the game's other maps, such as underwater buildings and subway stations. In the more immediate term, the Miramar remaster has arrived on the game's test servers on PC. This version of Miramar brings the desert map's visual quality up to the standards set by the Erangel remake and PUBG's more modern maps. This doesn't just manifest in new lighting and updated assets. You'll also find the new Miramar to be less cluttered, with clearer outdoors and indoor areas. For more information, click the link to the blog, but you don't need to do that because we got all the info here right on twitch.tv/ScrimMuffled. Yeah.
So, Graham, that for me was a lot to take in, a lot to digest. I don't really play it, albeit I have started to get into it over the last couple of weeks with you and Chucky and whoever it is that's going to come as our fourth player. This sounds like a return to form. Is that a correct enough statement?
On the surface, absolutely. And I'm saying the surface because obviously the proof is in the pudding. But I've been not toxic, but I'm openly positive and openly critical where I feel it needs to be. And I've not liked PUBG's direction. I still play the game because I still love what the game has within it. But the content direction has been horrendous for me. The focus on the smaller maps is not what people want. The focus on cosmetics is ridiculous, and rightly so. The PUBG community has turned into quite a toxic place. Not that toxicity is right, but negativity is fine. And the PUBG community has been quite negative. This, though, changed all of that yesterday. It instantly changed from being, why even bother? Do they even know? What is the point? To, oh, actually, okay, the small maps have been testing grounds and proving grounds and breeding grounds. We knew that they were. They mentioned that previously, but then went quiet for ages and then kept pumping out pajama party skins. Do they even know what they're doing anymore? And it turns out they actually were working their asses off. And if it doesn't really touch on it there, but if you read between the lines of the developer notes as well, they basically say we've been heavily affected by COVID, so we've been working our asses off, and here's stuff. And for them to come out and go, okay, here's an Erangel remaster, not an Erangel, a Miramar remaster, that would be nice for me. But they did that. Okay, you've got a Miramar remaster, and it's on the test servers now. Go! So everyone can go on and play on the remastered Miramar already. That's coming out next week, and then on consoles probably the week after. Okay, that was quick. But then to confirm 2 other big maps at the same time, and then there's new weapons. There's an AMR sniper rifle, which is a 50 caliber, basically a big boomstick. You can destroy vehicles and stuff with this sniper rifle. It's that powerful kind of stuff. Not one shot, but you can do if you hit them. Okay, that's new guns, new ammo. There's a new vehicle, a quad ATV. Okay, that's nice. You got new maps that offer different functions. Yes, maybe I don't want respawning. Maybe I don't want skyscrapers and stuff like that. But I like the fact that these big maps with different experiences, and they've put a lot of effort into doing that sort of stuff. As well as that, this was part 1 of their developer roadmap. It doesn't mention in this either that they've got part 2 of their developer roadmap, which will come soon. So part 1 tells you about the bigger world they're looking to have in the world. Part 2 looks at what's in it. And that kind of excites me too. The fact that they've said, okay, we're going to look at more like movements and play characteristics and things like that. Okay, if you give me like smoother, more fluid movement systems, make it a bit less janky when you get stuck on invisible rocks and shit like that, and then give me that in new 8x8 big PUBG experiences. Genuinely the most excited I've been for PUBG in probably 12 months, which is huge.
See, we spoke about this as we've been playing it and how we've been covering this, is that I haven't been a PUBG player. I think the gunplay in the game is fantastic. It was just too framey. It just felt too clunky. It just like, not the shooting element, but just how you maneuver your character around, how you're picking up stuff. That all the things that I hated about it seems to have been improved by me playing on my PlayStation 5. I probably should have played this a lot more on PC, but my PC for some reason cannot play this game to the standard, which is why I was playing PUBG Lite. That ran like an absolute dream. It was fantastic. I really enjoyed playing it on there. But all the criticisms that I had of this game, forget the cosmetic, the battle pass stuff, because I don't play it enough to be able to for that to be relevant anyway. But I would happy to, if you was to say let's play PUBG, I'd be more than happy to be able to jump on with you and just not fuck it off, because it's just not my kind of game. It feels like it's kind of come full circle, and it's a game that I'm happy to be playing now. The 8x8 stuff doesn't really resonate with me purely because of I don't really know the maps well enough to care. I just like the environments that you play on. However, you can never knock a company for trying to go and bring you in some form of another what you want as a player, and that for me seems to be it. I mean, I've heard you criticize maps left, right, and center. If we're fucking jumping on Erangel again, I'm not fucking playing it, or Sanhok, or whatever it was.
Yeah, Sanhok. Erangel's the holy grail. Sanhok's fuck off.
If we get fucking Sanhok again, I'm not fucking playing. I'm backing out. So what you're telling me about these large 8x8 maps, cool. That's what I'm going to enjoy. I know it's probably going to be a 45-minute stint if I'm playing this and we're reaching the last circle, but that's what you get kicks off doing. That's fantastic. They're experimenting. They've done that long enough. They're bringing it back. It's kind of coming full circle again. So I imagine this news is fantastic for the people who have been supporting this game or been playing it since launch. I don't know. There's only seems to be you, West, and obviously I'm new to Hamish as well, but you and West seem to be the only 2 players I know play this game day in, day out, that are ticking off daily challenges, that are ticking off challenges.
That's on the weekend.
We'll keep them WhatsApp conversations to just us. But yeah, it's a step in the right direction. For me, from the outsider, it seems like a step in the right direction. I'm happy for you guys that don't get to that have been putting up with whatever shit that you have been doing for the last 12 months. But just running through the chat then to quickly mop up what we've got in there. Spike says that he's quit one of his jobs, so he must feel better. Fantastic. Get some time for yourself, my good man. Tito says, sounds like they're trying to copy elements of Warzone, but they say imitation is flattery. I can't say yes or no to that because I don't really play either of them. So, yeah. Jordan says, just announced Borderlands 3 will be removing crossplay for PlayStation consoles. Okay. Are you on Twitter? Not going to post it here in case the guys want to cover it in the week.
Drop it in the Discord.
Yeah, drop it in the Discord. We'll cover that one tomorrow if it's legit stuff. Steam Switch Pro is for the new Zelda game. Absolutely. I mean, we've been working towards that forever. So that makes more sense, as well as obviously the Pokemon games that are going to be coming out. Crocodile says, why is it Graham Day and not Bibby Day?
Bibby Day was last week. It's National Graham Day this week.
Tito says, Aaron Gallo, G and Best Map, never a fan of Sanok. Tito, why have you never joined in with us? You're here every single stream. You're always in the chat. Never once have you said, room for one more? That needs to be sorted out.
Bit of voyeurism. He likes to watch. Like, it puts the lotion on its body.
So yeah, that needs to be sorted out. Robbo, absolute PUBG shagger as well, says we need more loot too. Oops, soz, cabs, don't worry about it. We can hear your excitement. Plum Rico is in the chat as well. Good morning to you, sir. Well, it's definitely afternoon now. It's definitely afternoon now. 1:05. Plum Rico says we'll check it out when the Beard Guy streamers. Ben is a day in day out player. Spike says, no more free time. I started a full time 46 hours a week in the other job. Well, you get money. Money makes the world go round.
More structure, 46 hours in one plane as opposed to two different things pulling at your time. Surely that's a bit more manageable and a bit easy on the whole mindset as well. Because juggling different jobs with different responsibilities and different timelines and different agendas and yeah. So yeah, there you go.
Well, congratulations on securing, because obviously getting two jobs and now you're doing one full time, one with big hours like that. Congratulations on doing that, mate. You must have made an impression. Tino says, I haven't played PUBG in about 2 years. I'm working. We can sort that out. Don't worry about that. Spike says, best bit of the new job. I'm a cook. If Corona doesn't kill you, the poison, I'll poison you all. Fantastic. Tito says, is what you're talking about on Twitter. Congrats if that's the case. And Plum Rico says, after playing a shed load of Warzone, I found it really hard to go back to PUBG. It seems so slow. That was my issue of playing other ones and then going back to that. But I think that's part of the charm if you can work your way up to it.
I find it the same both ways. So I'll jump on play Warzone. I'm like, it's an attack on the senses. Okay, you're running this and you get these things and you're in the plane, you're out of the snipers and you shit, you're dead. You need to go to a pay move and you respawn your teammates coming back in. Oh fuck, you died. Now you're in a gulag and oh my god, you're back in again. And I was just like, okay, all of it's so good, but why does it have to just be all the time? But then you get used to it and you're like, okay, I'm just constantly on excitement. It's yeah. And then you go back to PUBG and it's like. So it's pacing. I mean, that's why I keep saying it. I like Warzone, I like PUBG, I like Fortnite, I like them all. They all offer me different changes of pace, and that's why I kind of like the variety. The fact that I can play a little bit of one, and then when PUBG does have questionable decisions, like every game will, you don't agree with everything from every content creator, from every publisher at every point in time, which is just the natural way of the world. So I don't mind mixing it up. Jump back into Warzone, have a bit of nice. Some yippee-ki-yay motherfuckers. Get back in PUBG. Jobs are good.
Well, Tito says, the way I play PUBG, loot for 45 minutes without seeing anyone, die to the first person that I see. Warzone, just die to the first person that you see. Well, to be fair, mate, I was exactly the same. But if there's anything that I've learned over the last couple of days is if you don't even have a microphone and you're using your webcam to chat to the people that are in Discord like Lake did and you're still managing to get dubs, we must be fucking good. Robbo, I didn't mention Games Pass. And it's appeared. But 45 minutes of looting, what map are you on?
Yeah, I didn't want to mention that because Bibby mentioned it earlier on, like it's going to be a 45-minute experience. It means about 35-ish, 33, 34, but I didn't want to point it out because that would just show that I'm a PUBG nerd. But you did it first, nerd! Although you work in the game, so you get away for it, so it's fine. It's fine.
But Graham, usually you would be the one that wraps up the show. And I'm very happy to hand the baton over to you, and I would just press end slate whenever we usually do it. So, for the sake of my sanity and not getting my tongue tied, over to you.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of The Scoop. Appreciate you being here. If you do want to get involved and help us shape our show. For the next episodes of The Scoop, we do go live each and every single weekday, Monday to Friday, on twitch.tv/ice cream uploads. We give you the biggest, the best of breaking news from the world of video games, but we need that news. If you want to help shape the show, you can give us that news. Either send it us on social media, you can drop it in the Discord. The links to both of those are on social media, thanks to Gary Clark, and are in the chat, should I say, thanks to Gary Clark and Tito in the chat for providing the links. All we need from you is a link to the story, your thoughts and impressions, and then we will give you our thoughts and impressions on the very next show, which will be tomorrow. At what time, Mr. Bibb?
This is so cool. 10 a.m. ish.
Yeah, goddamn ish.
Oh, it feels weird being on the other side listening to that.
I know. Well, like when you were doing the intro then, and I was typing out like a wrap-up email after my call, and I was just listening to you doing the intro. I was like, this is me, but I'm not saying it. How is it doing this?
It's so bizarre. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us today. We've got one more episode of The Scoop, as Graham said, tomorrow at 10 a.m.-ish. Shape our show. Get involved with the Discord. We've got loot drop stuff. We've got giveaways. All of that information was given at the beginning of the show. If you've missed it, then get into the description below. All of the links that you will be required are there. Graham, are we playing games after this?
We are playing games after this. We might be playing, it could be a short stream, but we might be playing something completely different. We have to see if we've been given our codes. Basically, yes. One of our friends in the games in this is releasing a new game today. It's only going to be an indie game, so feel free to drop it and give it a try. You might not like it, you might like it. Me and Bibi might get stressed on it. You never know. So we're going to see if we've got our codes, how long it's going to take to install it, and if it's all good, then we will be playing said game after this stream. If not, if we don't have the codes and it doesn't look like it's going to be good to go, then we've got options, Bib.
We have got options.
Do we jump in? I mean, Spike's mentioned State of Decay in the chat. Do we jump in with some State of Decay? Do we play a little bit more PUBG? Or do we continue with Knockout City? Because yesterday we got... I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if my voice mod is up and running through Discord. So we'll give it a try. Are we going for a little bit of...
11 Nation.
Because we got 11 wins in a row without losing today. 11 Nation. So yeah, we either get State of Decay, PUBG, or Knockout City. What we're saying, Gary says Knockout City.
I think do we leave it as a surprise so me and you could discuss off air, because we might have the code for the game. But the only way you can find out is to follow us on all of our socials. Again, descriptions in the below. All you guys that are in the chat already know all this anyway. So yeah, Thursday we've got one more day left. We've got games tomorrow as well. So Graham, is there anything that you want to say to everyone before we wrap up?
Yeah, I just want to say have yourselves a fantastic day, and I'm not sure if you were asking me for the final 2 words of the stream, but I'll mention them anyway just in case. Yeah, okay. It's okay. Have yourselves a fantastic day, and remember, stay frosty.